My dear chosen one, there is a war you didn't start, but that has been raging around your soul since the moment God placed His hand upon you, and today you are feeling the weight of it. People who once smiled at you, who once pretended to walk by your side, have turned their hearts against you, not because you did them wrong, but because your spiritual authority reminded them of what they refused to become. They challenged what they could never understand, the divine mark upon your life. And now, they are paying a price they never expected. Nights filled with terror, restless minds, spiritual torment that no human hand can relieve. What they tried to break in you has become the very thing that is breaking them. They thought they were just fighting you, chosen one. But the truth is far more dangerous for them. They challenged God's purpose in you. And heaven does not stand still when someone touches what is sacred. That's why you've seen their downfall begin quietly at first. A loss of peace, relationships falling apart, unexplained suffering. This is not because you wished harm. This is because the spiritual balance they tried to destroy has demanded a price. And if you leave now, if you turn away from this message, you might miss the key to understanding what's truly happening and how you are meant to stand firm while justice unfolds. Stay. There are truths here that your soul has been longing to hear. Chosen one, I need you to listen closely, because as we journey through this message, you will recognize the signs, the moments they tried to ridicule your authority, the traps they set that backfired, the silent battles you've endured without lifting a finger. And before this video ends, I will show you exactly why God's justice looks like torment to those who touched what was His, and what that means for your mission from now on. But first, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the revelations that are coming next. And leave a comment. Write, "I trust divine justice." If your spirit already feels the weight of this truth, let's walk through this together. You'll see what heaven is doing on your behalf. My dear chosen one, you didn't ask for this spiritual weight, did you? And yet, from the moment heaven marked you, the unseen world shifted. You became a mirror that revealed the hidden intentions of hearts around you. That's why some couldn't bear your presence. They saw your authority not as a blessing, but as a threat. And they tried, to challenge it. What they didn't see is that they weren't fighting you. They were standing against the divine order itself. And now, the price is unfolding. Restless nights, tormented minds, a heaviness they can't explain. They touched what was sacred, and heaven responded. They believed they could ridicule you, sabotage you, question your path, and nothing would happen. But chosen one, spiritual law is not silent. It is not moved by human opinion. When someone rises against what God has ordained, they awaken forces far beyond their control. You stayed silent. You didn't retaliate. You kept walking, trusting that what is of God does not need to shout to prove itself. And while you remained faithful, the torment began in them. A collapse of inner peace, confusion, doors that suddenly closed, and battles they didn't see coming. They thought they were above the law of spirit. Now, they see the truth. This journey we're about to walk together will open your eyes even more. You'll understand why their downfall began the moment they tried to dim your light, and how divine justice always moves, quietly, surely, without needing your hand. By the end of this video, you'll see clearly why the torment of those who challenged you is not vengeance, but the natural return of the disorder they created. But first, make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And write in the comments, "I trust divine justice," to declare your faith in heaven's order. Let's go deeper together. Chosen one, you never asked for this authority. It wasn't born from pride or ambition. It was placed on you, like a crown that no one sees, but that every soul feels. And that unseen crown disturbed the hearts of those who lived in shadows. They felt exposed next to you. They felt small not because you made them small, but because your existence reminded them of the truth they refused to face. Your authority became the unspoken challenge that their hearts could not handle. And so they rose against it, not realizing the storm they were calling upon themselves. It started quietly, didn't it? The side comments, the subtle disrespect, the way they tried to twist your words or question your heart. At first, it seemed like misunderstanding, but in your spirit, you felt it. You knew it was something deeper. Their problem was never really with you. It was with what you carried. Your light disturbed their darkness. And that is what they tried to fight. Not you as a person, but the purpose God gave you. And in doing so, they challenged heaven itself. They moved from whispers to actions, small sabotages, attempts to block your path, manipulations designed to confuse you, to make you question your own calling. But you stood firm. You didn't lower yourself. You didn't retaliate. You kept your peace, even when everything inside you wanted to cry out for justice. And that, chosen one, was your greatest strength. For when you stayed silent, heaven spoke on your behalf. And now, those who tried to pull you down are facing battles they never imagined. And here's what began to happen. As they pushed against your authority, their own lives started to crumble. Peace fled from them. Rest turned into nights of inner chaos. Doors they thought were secure slammed shut. Relationships began to erode, and blessings slipped through their fingers. The torment didn't come from you. It came from the spiritual imbalance they caused by trying to tear down what God had established. And this, chosen one, is only the beginning of what we will uncover today. They thought they could rise against you without consequence. They thought your silence was weakness, that your refusal to engage was proof that they had the upper hand. But in reality, your silence was the space where divine justice began to move. They didn't see the winds change, but they felt them. Little by little, what they built on lies began to fall. What they took pride in began to rot at its roots. While they watched your every step, waiting for you to fall, it was their own ground that was crumbling beneath their feet. And still, you stood in integrity, trusting the unseen hand of God to do what no human hand could. This is the quiet power of spiritual authority. It doesn't need to announce itself. It simply is. And that is enough to disturb the plans of the wicked. There came a moment, didn't there, where you could feel the shift. You looked at them and saw confusion where once there was arrogance. Their eyes no longer held the same certainty. The ones who mocked you began to withdraw, not because you confronted them, but because the torment within them grew too loud to ignore. They couldn't sleep the same. They couldn't rest in the victories they once celebrated. And you, chosen one, began to see clearly what was happening. The battle was never against you. It was against what God placed upon you. And those who touched what was holy found themselves battling with shadows that would not let them go. The torment started as a whisper in their minds. Thoughts they couldn't quiet, regrets they couldn't escape, dreams that turned against them, showing them the faces of what they tried to harm, waking them in cold sweats. And the harder they tried to silence it, the louder it became. What was meant to be your downfall became their own spiritual prison. And all the while, you stayed on your path, faithful to your purpose, watching as the very forces they called upon to stop you became their captors. This is what happens when human pride challenges divine purpose. There is no victory in that battle, only lessons paid for in sleepless nights and restless souls. And as this torment grew, so too did their desperation. They began seeking answers in the wrong places, trying to undo the damage without humbling themselves. Some tried to mask the torment with distractions. Others turned bitter, blaming the world for what their own rebellion unleashed. But nothing worked, because until they recognized the sacred line they crossed, peace would remain out of reach. And you, chosen one, may have wondered at times why their lives seemed to spiral, why their joy turned to ashes. Now you see, they invited torment the moment they set themselves against what heaven appointed, and that torment will remain until they face the truth. Through all this, you didn't need to lift a hand, did you? You didn't need to curse them, expose them, or prove anything, because the authority you carry is not yours. It's God's. And when someone fights that authority, they aren't fighting you. They're wrestling with a spiritual force that does not yield to pride, envy, or rebellion. And that force does not lose. What was meant to harm you became a testimony of how heaven defends its own. You didn't have to speak. The torment they face is proof enough. And now you stand as a witness, not to their downfall, but to the unshakable truth that what God ordains, no hand can undo. You felt it, didn't you, chosen one? The shift in their energy, the weight in their words, the forced smiles that no longer masked the storm inside. And perhaps part of your heart mourned, not because you rejoiced in their downfall, but because you never sought this outcome. All you ever desired was peace, was the freedom to walk your path without interference. Yet, in trying to stop you, they stopped themselves. In trying to break your spirit, they shattered their own peace. And through it all, God's justice moved quietly, not as punishment, but as balance restored. This is the nature of true spiritual authority. It stands firm, and in that steadiness, truth shakes loose everything built on lies, exposing what pride tried to conceal. Their torment was never about revenge. It was, and still is, an invitation to awaken. Every sleepless night, every closed door, every strained relationship was heaven's gentle but firm call to look inward, to see the pride that led them to challenge the sacred. But pride is a stubborn wall, and many choose to build it higher rather than tear it down. The deeper they resist, the deeper their unrest grows. And you, chosen one, have been called not to rescue, not to fix, but to stay the course, to let heaven's justice do what it was always meant to do. For divine justice is never cruelty. It is mercy in disguise, correction wrapped in love, calling the lost back to the truth they tried to outrun. And now you see the cost of their choices reflected in their restless eyes, in their hollow victories, in the emptiness that follows them no matter how they try to fill it. You were never their enemy. You were a mirror, reflecting what they refused to face within themselves. This is the burden of spiritual authority. By simply standing in light, you reveal what is hidden in shadow. That is why they lashed out, why they tried to silence you, why they sought to discredit your light. But no attack could change what God placed in you. And now, as you rise higher through steadfastness and grace, their torment echoes louder, not because you wished it, but because heaven will not bless rebellion. Your victory was never in defeating them. It was in remaining true to what is holy and letting that truth speak louder than any force that rose against it. There came a moment, chosen one, when those who rose against you began to sense that something far greater than themselves had been set into motion, something they could neither control nor escape. At first, they called it bad luck, a streak of misfortune they believed they could outthink or overpower. But no strategy worked. Every plan crumbled. Every attempt to rebuild fell apart, as though the very ground beneath them refused to cooperate. What they could not see is that it wasn't fate or the world conspiring against them. It was the spiritual imbalance they had created by dishonoring what they should have revered. And you, standing in alignment, witnessed it unfold without lifting a hand, knowing deep in your soul that it was divine justice moving where no words or actions of yours ever could. Their torment became proof of the invisible laws they broke, and heaven's quiet reminder that truth always rises where pride falls. And as they sank deeper into confusion, your path became clearer, brighter, steadier. You were never asked to defend yourself in the ways the world teaches. Your defense was always your integrity, your faithfulness, your unwavering peace. While they exhausted themselves trying to fight the consequences of their own choices, you stood firm, anchored in the light, and let heaven do what only heaven could. This is the true picture of spiritual authority. It doesn't shout, it doesn't strive, it simply stands. And in standing, it shakes every lie to its core. They couldn't bear your silence, chosen one, because it reflected back what they feared most, their own failure to honor what was sacred. The more you stayed true, the louder their own choices echoed back at them, turning peace into a distant memory they no longer knew how to reach. At night, when no one else could see, their hearts became their greatest accusers. The faces of those they wronged, the words they twisted, the moments they could not undo haunted their dreams, their thoughts, their restless nights. And as much as they tried to silence the inner voice calling them back, it only grew louder, more relentless, because this is the mercy hidden within torment. It gives no peace until the soul is willing to see, willing to change, willing to surrender. But you, chosen one, must remember, this is not yours to fix. Your mission is not to carry their lesson, but to stand as the living proof of what happens when one honors what is holy. Let their battle be their own. Let heaven continue its work, and let your light remain the quiet invitation that guides them, not by force, but by the truth that darkness can never overcome. There is a moment in every spiritual battle, chosen one, when the truth becomes so undeniable that even those who tried to fight it can no longer look away. That moment has come. Those who rose up against you are beginning to see that what they tried to tear down was never truly yours. It was God's to ordain, to establish, to protect. And in fighting you, they unknowingly set themselves against the very order that sustains their own lives. This realization doesn't come with loud confessions or public apologies. It comes as a silent weight that settles on their spirit, a weight heavier than any judgment the world could give. It steals their rest, dims their joys, and clouds their victories. And through it all, heaven waits, offering them the chance to lay down their pride, to humble themselves before truth, and to choose surrender over rebellion before it is too late. What you are witnessing now, chosen one, is not yours to fix. It is theirs to face. Their torment is not just punishment. It is a mirror held up to show them the cost of their choices. They thought they were battling you, but in reality, they rebelled against what is sacred, and no rebellion against the sacred can prosper. The unease they feel now, the hollow laughter, the success that no longer satisfies, these are the echoes of their own decisions returning to them, not because God seeks their destruction, but because God seeks their awakening. And so heaven uses even their torment as mercy, a relentless reminder that peace will only come when they choose surrender. But surrender requires breaking, and pride will resist breaking at any cost. Let this strengthen your resolve to remain steady in your light, knowing your consistency is part of heaven's invitation for them to return. Understand deeply, chosen one, spiritual authority is not about domination or control. It is about alignment, walking so closely with God's will that your very presence unsettles what is false. That is why you never needed to defend yourself, never needed to argue or prove your worth in the ways they hoped to provoke. Your peace became your testimony. Your truth became your defense. Your integrity became the loudest declaration of their failure. And now, as heaven's justice moves, remember, their torment is not cruelty. It is mercy wrapped in consequence. Every door that closes, every night without rest, every plan that crumbles, is heaven saying, "See what pride has built. See what rebellion has cost, and choose differently." Whether they choose it or not is beyond your control. Your role is clear. Stay aligned, stay true, and let God's justice do what only God can do. You may be tempted, chosen one, to reach out, to ease their suffering, to speak words that might comfort a restless soul. But remember, sometimes comfort is the very thing that delays awakening. Sometimes the greatest mercy is found not in words, but in silence. It is in allowing the weight of their choices to press them toward the only path that leads to peace. You were not called to carry their burden. You were called to carry your light. And that light, steady, unwavering, does more for them than any defense or explanation ever could. Your light stands as a beacon, a reminder that peace is possible, but that it comes only through surrender, through humility, through honoring what is sacred. Let your heart be soft, yes, but let your steps be firm, and let heaven complete the work that only heaven can do. As you move forward, let the deeper wisdom of this journey shape you. This was never about proving your authority or defending your path. This was about heaven showing you, through battles you didn't start, that true spiritual authority does not beg to be seen. It does not shout. It does not scramble for approval. It simply is a steady alignment with truth, with purpose, with God. And in that being, it becomes the force that no opposition can stand against. Every time you chose stillness over strife, prayer over pride, trust over control, you revealed what real power looks like. And now that quiet, anchored power unsettles everything built on falsehoods around you. Let that truth fuel your confidence, reminding you that no scheme of man, no rebellion of pride, can undo what God has placed within you. You see it now, don't you? Their torment was never yours to carry. Their chaos was never your battle. What follows them now, the sleepless nights, the restlessness, the crumbling of false foundations, is not your doing. It is the natural consequence of pride standing in opposition to truth. Their own soul cries out for alignment, for restoration, for the peace that only humility can bring. But their choice is theirs alone. Your mission is not to rescue them. Your mission is to walk forward in clarity, in compassion, but without compromise. Let your light shine brightly, not to comfort those still lost in rebellion, but to show the way back for any who choose it. And in doing so, chosen one, you offer the highest form of service. Truth lived out boldly, without apology. Chosen one, you have witnessed with your own eyes what it means for God to fight on your behalf. You have felt the difference between battles you were tempted to enter by your own strength and battles where heaven stepped in and won the victory for you. Through every trial, you learned that nothing and no one can stop what God has ordained. The authority placed upon your life is not fragile, not dependent on applause, not shaken by accusations. It is as steady as the one who gave it, and that steadiness has been your shield, your strength, your testimony. Let this truth settle into your spirit. What is of God cannot be undone by human hands or demonic plans, no matter how they strive or scheme. Their efforts failed, not because of your force, but because they were fighting against a purpose sealed in heaven before their attacks began. So now you walk forward with a soft heart, but firm steps. Feel sorrow for those trapped in the torment of their rebellion, but do not pick up their burden. Do not let their chaos distract you or take your eyes off your mission. Your calling is too sacred, your authority too precious, your purpose too great to waste on battles that were never yours to fight. Keep your hands clean, your spirit clear, and your focus fixed on the one who called you. Divine justice is already moving, not as punishment, but as the victory of light over shadow, of truth over deception. And as you stay the course, you will see. This was never about their downfall. It was about the rise of what was meant to be, the fulfillment of what was written over your life long before their schemes began. When you look back on this journey, you will see how silence became your greatest weapon. It was not weakness, but wisdom, the deep knowing that some battles are won, not through force, but through stillness and trust. While they exhausted themselves trying to tear you down, you gathered strength in the quiet. Heaven worked while you waited, turning attacks into stepping stones, schemes into testimony. And now your presence stands as a beacon for those ready to turn toward the light and a mirror for those still resisting truth. Your authority shines brighter, not because you fought to prove it, but because you stayed true. And in staying true, you carried what was never yours alone, the calling God placed upon you, and nothing on earth or in the unseen can take it from you. Before we close, Chosen One, I invite you to declare this truth in the comments right now by writing, "Divine justice fights for me." Let that be your proclamation, a spiritual declaration of alignment with what is true. And if this message resonated with you today, I ask that you leave a like, subscribe to this channel, and activate the notification bell so that these truths continue to reach and strengthen you. I also have a special request. Take this moment and leave your like on the button below, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell. We are building a community, and this helps it to grow even more. I also want to take a moment to thank each soul who supports this mission through Buy Me a Coffee. Your generosity is sacred and deeply felt. My sincere thanks. If you feel moved to support us too, the link is right there, in the first comment pinned below. Now, before you go, there is another video on the screen waiting to take you deeper. Or binge watch the playlist, because the journey will be incredible. Keep feeding your spirit to ascend even higher. Thank you for watching. See you in the next revelation, and may God bless you.